That's
Welcome,
weird.
everyone, to Ladder Daily Digest. We honor creators, and also welcome to other channels. And so I guess Randy's the other channel. Megan apparently doesn't want to post local Mormon leadership and callings on her channel, and that's okay. But she's going to be here. And so anyhow, welcome, Randy and Tim. Thanks for letting us use your living room.
Anytime.
Thanks, Gene.
So this is Randy and Tim. In a way, this show is just a prequel to something bigger. In a few weeks, we're going to talk about upper management, and so we're going to see what we can find out, what people's experiences are, and we're going to actually dig into. I'm going to say what the hell the 70s actually do in running the church.
We're just going to talk about like regional managers. Huh?
Yeah, the regional managers. And then when Tim gets his apostle friend to come on the show, we can talk about the Q15 meetings. So anyhow, let's see, Randy, what was your highest calling and award?
I was executive secretary for three different bishops.
Okay. I was executive secretary for one bishop. Tim, what was your highest calling?
I was an elders quorum president. I was executive secretary, and I was ward clerk.
Ward clerk.
Yeah.
So
head of the bodies at church.
So Randy, go ahead, Tim.
Trying to remember there was two different bishops. Yeah, two different bishops. I think I had both callings and two different bishops. I can't remember. So confusing. I was a counselor in like every elders quorum presidency wherever I lived, in Colorado Springs. When I went to BYU, what was I at BYU?
I'm pretty sure they all wanted to take advantage of the fact that you were there at the founding of the church, and they wanted to get your knowledge.
Yeah.
All the things that happened since then.
I was never in the 70s, but Tim is now, and I will be in about 5 years.
That's right. Tim, did you ever do ward mission stuff?
No, my ex-wife did.
Okay. So Randy, we'll let you talk about your experience as ward executive secretary. You could tell people sort of what, how the hamburger is made. What goes on during a ward leadership meeting, and then Tim, you can concur or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, first of all, I always felt awkward being in on so many of the meetings that I was in. I just didn't feel like I should be in there listening to what they were saying, because, you know, first of all, I had to set up all the appointments with the bishop, and I had to sit in on so many very personal type meetings when one of the counselors couldn't, and it was almost embarrassing for me to hear the reports of what the bishop would tell his counselors about personal interviews he'd had with some of these families. You know, it just felt wrong that I was getting in on all of this juicy gossip that I just didn't feel was any of my business, nor did I feel like it was anyone's business, not even the bishops, not even the counselors. So I was always uneasy in that aspect. And another thing, when they would call someone to a position, I remember looking for Relief Society presidents and Elders Quorum presidents, and it wasn't this divine bright light that would descend into the bishop's office and tell us who would make the best filler of that position. It was, well, what are their work hours? How much do they make? Can they afford to put the time in, making what income they're on? And it was all logical. And then after everything was hashed out, then there would be a prayer. asking for a validation of the decision. And every single time it was validated, because who's going to stand up from a prayer and say, nope, the Lord has told me this is all wrong. You know, it was always stand up and agree and say, yeah, this is the right choice. But I think the most awkward part for me as executive secretary, I was good because I protected the bishop's, one of my jobs, and even though the bishop wasn't wild about it, was to protect his family time. So all of the interviews, I made rules that they either have to happen on Wednesday night during young men, young women's, or I think it was called activity night or something. I can't remember at that period, at that time, or on Sunday before or after church, and sometimes during Sunday school. But otherwise, I didn't make meetings unless there was an extreme emergency and the family, was desperate to talk to the bishop. Then I'd call the bishop and have him call them. But I think my biggest issue with it was the personal things that were discussed and between the four of us men that I didn't think should be. I thought it was none of our business. I say these things humbly in Tim's name. Amen.
There you go.
What do you think, Tim? Do you concur with that?
Well, we didn't ever talk about how much they made. We were talking about that. Well, we'd say a prayer. We go through the business of the ward. We talk about who needs what and what callings were needed. And we talk about, you pull out the ward list and you go through it, and you'd say, well, so-and-so. Sometimes with one bishop I had, if somebody had a job doing what they did, he didn't call them. Like, let's say the guy was a teacher, and he wouldn't call them to be a teacher in the ward. He'd call them to do something else, because he knew he was a principal. One of the bishops was a principal, the other one was a probation officer, and he knew how it was to be a teacher. So he says, well, I want to call so-and-so to do this, to challenge. He liked to challenge people. And he didn't always call them to sometimes he did, but not always. And we go through the list and we talk about who needs what's going on.
You ever gossip?
Not really.
Mm-hmm.
We tried to avoid. We were just talking. What?
Do you remember him ever letting something slip that was said in confidence?
No, never. I did not. No, no. In fact, when this one former counselor was excommunicated because he was poking the women who were on welfare to think you get more wealth. When that went on, and I was in the bishopric meeting, and they never even talked about it. All of a sudden I says, well, so-and-so is excommunicated. I says, oh, okay. And I found out why from somebody else.
He was a counselor in the bishopric?
Yeah. He was a counselor in the bishopric. And there were 2 or 3 sisters in the ward, and their husbands were gone during the week. They were working out of town. And he was having his way with them during the week while their husbands were gone. And
that's one way to get a little extra powdered milk.
Yeah. And he had been doing it for years.
On the prophet.
So
Megan would really like to get that extra powdered milk, I know. Oh, Megan, we need to connect you to the speaker. You're on the mute.
Muted again. You are muted.
I said, no, thank you. I shall pass.
There you go.
Not
Two
wish to
shall pass.
partake
But
of
that
any
was
powdered
that was
milk.
that was the first bishopric I was in, and then they released us all, and they called me again, new bishop, called me back in with 2 different counselors. Yeah,
I always thought that was
And-
weird when they would release everybody and then call half of them back in.
yeah.
It's not very efficient.
Not
Just
very
make the
efficient.
necessary changes. So
I think
Megan's here. We can get some of Megan's input on the women's side. Megan, did you
Well-
have some leadership positions, or do you have to finish,
Oh,
Tim?
women aren't allowed in leadership, so
Were you in a Relief Society presidency?
that's the
I'll bet you
joke,
could-
guys.
I'll bet
Those
you
are the
could pass
jokes.
out
That's not
programs or
leadership.
something.
The Relief Society is the largest and oldest women's group run by men.
That's right.
It is the
By the
largest
way,
women's organization on the planet run by men.
Good.
Yeah.
I want to say this before Megan continues. We have in our midst some wonderful people. Thank you, Rio for Life, for being here. But 2 of the stars of Mormonism After Dark this past week, Trevor Larson on the script side and Tim Rathbone on the camera side, you 2 monopolized the show. Yeah, I just wanted to point that out.
Trevor
Okay.
is flame in the chat.
Yeah, I'm usually dumb in the chat. Out of Chris, I guess.
Oh, but I didn't mention his name. I didn't mention their name, Church of Korihor. No, most of the confidence happened in welfare meetings. It didn't happen much in bishopric meetings. It happened more in welfare meetings where we talked about stuff.
Well,
Because in the 90s, I think the confidentiality thing was shifting. Like they used to announce who was excommunicated, well, first in the church news, and then in priesthood meeting, and then
I'm waiting for that to come back before I get excommunicated. Once they start, because I want to see my name in the church.
and then they did it in stake priesthood meeting, and then the couple that guy sued the church in the 90s, and it was only known to, I mean, like I said, when this guy was excommunicated, the only way I knew it happened was somebody told me what happened, and I was the word clerk. I should have known about it, but they didn't say. It was like quiet type of thing. But we had one guy in the bishopric that was really kind of a prick about things.
Priesthood prick.
Priesthood prick. Well, his wife controlled
Bishop
him.
Prick.
His wife controlled him.
So a pants
pretty
prick.
much. Yeah. Because if she didn't like something, she'd pass it along, and the bishop would stop. He'd put a stop to it. He'd wouldn't let it. He knew it was going on because he and I talked. I'll call him
Brother Jones.
Yeah, Brother Jones, Bishop Jones, and I would talk about this other guy. He's never, and he told me he's never going to get his way. I just don't like, because his wife controls him. I mean, we'd be sitting in Sunday school, and his wife would bring stuff up, and the teacher and I, we'd just shut her down because she had her own way of thinking about Mormonism, and then. Their son was on a mission down in South America and walked out in front of a bus. And I think that changed their point of view quite a bit.
He walked out in front of a bus so it stopped and he could get a ride?
No, he walked, he
I'm
stepped out.
He committed suicide.
He committed suicide.
Like
Stepped out in front of a bus.
Jesus, that's crazy.
And that says a lot about that family. Yeah.
Do you know any more of the details? Like, did he say something to his companion? Like, see you on the next side, brother?
I don't know what he said.
I'd like to hear that kind of story.
All I know is that when we'd have meetings, his wife and my ex-wife would argue. She would argue with everybody. She had her own version of Mormonism that was very orthodox, but not her version. It wasn't even It was orthodox, but not orthodox. Not like orthodoxy that I knew. It was a different kind of. Anyway, she was just She was trying to control everything in the ward. And it was a really interesting battle to watch her through her husband in bishopric meeting, and then the other guy, you know.
She didn't
The other guy was
listen in
poking
temple.
the other guy that was poking the women. We'd sit
Yeah.
there and
So
sit there
Tim,
in
is
Bishop.
it okay if we bring in Megan's perspective and then maybe Kim D's?
Sure.
Are you getting
Hi.
tired of Tim? Oh, I was with you, Tim,
That
Okay.
was good, Tim. I like that.
and we should probably give our condolences to the family of the mission president who was killed this week.
You mean the missionary?
Missionary.
No, the mission.
Yeah.
No, the
He was-
mission. Oh yes, senior missionary. That's right.
Yeah, senior.
Who was killed
I
in a
have-
lawnmower accident.
And I have a friend who died that way. And the mower,
Oh,
he was on a
yeah.
hill and the mower fell over on him. So I'm guessing that's what happened to this guy.
God.
Yeah,
If you've
It was a
ever
hill.
been to Adam-on-Diamond, it's very hilly.
yeah. Well,
Yeah,
that must be.
numbers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, Megan. Go ahead.
That's okay. What do you want to know? Ask me anything.
So
What was your
basically,
position?
What did you feel like as a woman who had to pray for counselors or to do things in your calling or in any? Were you ever young women's anything?
I was a young women's anything. Yes. I was.
Why, she was a young woman.
secretary for a while. I was a young women's secretary when I was a young woman. The first calling that I had in my first grown-up adult family ward was Boy Scout leader. And I was in charge of
Wow.
13 boys who were 7 and 8 years old. And then when they got older, they just advanced me. And so I was the Cub Scout leader for these boys for probably 2.5 years. At the time, I was newly married and I had a 3-year-old. And by the time I was finished with my second year, I was expecting another baby. And I had 13 of these boys to take care of. And I was literally 22 years old.
See,
And
my last position was
Wow.
Weebelow's leader. I wasn't in charge of the scouts. Another sister was. So I get it.
I knew nothing about scouting other than that my brothers had done it and there was a Pinewood Derby involved and somehow there were merit badges and pins and crap. And I just I had no idea how to control a troop of 13 7 and 8-year-old boys. And they were like the wildest, most rambunctious boys ever from like the legacy families of the ward. Like it was literally the 8th and 9th boy of the bishop's family who had 11 boys and then 2 girls at the end. And so I was like, when I first came into the ward, they did the thing where the bishop calls you in and says, what are your skills? What would you like to do in the ward? And I said, I really loved girls camp. I would really love to go to girls camp, with the young women. And they freaking made me a Cub Scout leader. I was like, screw you. So that's what I did for the first 2 years. And then after that, they did put me into young women's and I was in charge of camp. And I was like 25, 26 over these girls who were less than 10 years younger than I was. And that's actually where Kirsten and I crossed paths for the second time. I guess we didn't really know it. But yeah. And then after that, of course, being a musician, I had literally every music calling that there possibly could be in the entire ward. I was the ward music chairman for 10 years, and I had to ask to be released because they were asking me to teach gospel doctrine. And I said, well, I'll do it if you'll release me from the music calling. And they were like, oh, is that taking up a lot of your time? And I was like, is that the point?
Crap.
So, keep in mind as well that between the years of 1995 and 2009, I already had a baby. I gave birth to 5 more babies, and my husband was not involved in the church at all. So during this time period, I always held a minimum of 2 callings, as many as 4. I was always a visiting teacher. And then at the same time, I always had some kind of music calling, whether it was leading the singing on Sundays or whether it was like playing the piano in primary or playing the organ in sacrament meeting or being the ward music chairman. And in addition, I was also a ward missionary for 2 years in a ward where we were baptizing 30 people a year. So it was basically a part-time job. I was teaching 2 or 3 new member lessons every single week. And then after that, they called me to be a Relief Society teacher, which was once a month. And then after that, they called me to be gospel doctrine teacher, which was, I did that for 6 years. And then I went back to Relief Society teaching, and then ended up leaving. But the whole time, it was like I had been in my patriarchal blessing. I was counseled to never fail to accept a calling from my priesthood leader. And so I never did. In my entire time as an active member of the church, I never once said no to a calling. And that was at a time when I had sometimes 4 at a time. And I was dragging my 6 kids to church by myself all the time.
Wow.
I turned down a calling.
What was it, Tim?
I was the Blazers teacher in a little branch in the Black Forest.
Blazers.
And they wanted me to teach priesthood meeting. And Brother Spencer, who was the Institute guy, came to me and talked to me. I says, you know what? I said, Brother Spencer, I've been at Elders Quorum presidencies ever since my mission. And my mom's primary president, and she called me to be the Blazers leader. And I'm going to support my mother in this. And you can tell this guy, no, he's doing a fine job, but I'm having fun with my Blazers. when I got home from mission, they called me to be with
Black
the young
Forest,
men.
Tim.
Yep, Black Forest, Colorado. Yeah.
Something about Blaze and Black Forest doesn't go together in my mind.
Blazers and Mormons doesn't go together very well.
Yeah.
When I
got home my mission, they called me to be with the young men, and we had a camp out way up in the mountains. And the guy who was supposed to open the cabins wasn't there, and the doors were still locked. And I said, and there were these big hinges on the outside of the door. I says, anybody got a screwdriver? And I unscrewed the door, unscrewed the hinges, and opened the door. I says, we're sleeping here tonight, guys. And everybody else went to sleep in the mess hall. And they were freezing in there. We had a fire going all night long.
Nice.
I know. Yeah.
Well, I have to say to Rudy the Apostate, if anybody had ever called me to nursery, I definitely would have said no, because I was like, I have a nursery in my own house. I don't need to be doing it at the church too.
Yeah.
Okay, anyone who is computer savvy, I may have to switch to my phone because when I wave, everything happens about a second after I do it. Like
maybe
you see my lips moving. I don't know what's going on. I think maybe it's just my Mac.
Maybe you're phasing into another dimension.
Do you have too many tabs, Randy?
Yeah, close your tabs, Randy.
They're all closed. Well, except for Facebook. But there is I bought this MacBook Air at an antique store. Does that maybe make a difference? I don't know.
No,
but it's so frustrating because I know when I say baby, but then half a second later my lips say baby. Can you guys tell?
Yeah.
No.
Should I be worried about this?
No, don't worry about it. No.
Does your have colored stripes on it?
Because there's not a delay in hearing you, so don't worry about it.
Yeah, unless you're going to speak in sign language from now on. We don't
just
really.
When we're done,
this is all I know. This means I have to pee. That's all I know.
Well,
Is that what that means?
Just update your, see if your system needs an update when we're done. Not now, but you're fine.
And the
You're
girls.
fine.
my dog will understand the sign language.
It's gonna be.
So let's hear from Jules right now. And then Jules, whenever you're not talking, do mute because I think the fan in the background's
Yeah, the AC just kicked on.
Got some static.
Go ahead and say your position and what you thought about ward leadership for now.
Oh, ward leadership. It was just, always having to, tell what, who we had to go try to bring back to the church. I think that was the hardest part. And
All reactivation.
Yep. And I was actually the young men's presidency, part of the, I think it was the first counselor. So I was always trying to find those young men that weren't coming to scouts and all that. And then the next, our second biggest thing was to get Eagle Scouts, to Eagle Scout them. I think that was our biggest thing, making sure we had enough merit badge projects.
That's cool.
Yeah. And Eagle projects, which weren't hard in Florida when hurricanes came around.
Oh my goodness.
You
I
could just
guess
shingle
so.
roofs for a while and then.
Did you ever feel that you didn't get callings for certain things because you were just a new member or hadn't been in for very long?
I think the hardest thing was my job. Since I've always worked in the medical field, usually I would be there every other Sunday. Same with youth activity. I would go every other Wednesday because my job always alternated, or even when I was just a road medic, it was unpredictable, because you'd serve 24 hours, then have 48 off. So, it doesn't, you don't know which day you're going to have off. So.
Yeah.
Wow.
That'd be hard.
Yeah. So
The
that's
Boy Scouts are the best part of the church, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Our first Eagle we did get by having him go and shingle roofs after Hurricane Charlie. And we thought we were going to be short on shingles, and we just had enough for every roof. Yet, the last roof, looked like they were going to be short. Of course, they had enough. And, of course, that became a spiritual thing. The spirit.
It's like the fish and the bread.
Mm-hmm.
When Christ fed 5,000?
Right.
3 loaves of bread
It
and
was
a few fish.
69,000. 69,000.
Yeah, that was the big thing they used to always say.
Don't
I got my Eagle.
Scouts.
So to get
I got my Eagle when I was 13.
All he had to do was roofs
Wow.
and houses, and that was it. Nothing else.
We had to fill out paperwork and stuff.
No, but I mean, just not a project. I mean, I know that helps the community, but that was the
That was
only
a
thing.
project.
See, that to me is just not right.
What do you think it should be?
Well, we built things, like we built
Well,
fences.
he's building a roof.
I understand that, but I mean, yeah, it's a good thing, but I mean, it's not challenging. Like we had guys way to engineer stuff, and
Yeah, it varies. A lot of
yeah.
where I grew up, it was like flagpoles for the city. I did like trail markers, like city trails. Maybe these like trail things.
I like MB's comment where when people get calling, sometimes they have to tell their family because you're not going to see dad very much anymore because he's in the bishopric, or mom gonna need your support on Tuesday nights because she's going to do primary or something like that. And so that did happen.
You know what my funnest calling of all time was? I was called to be the stake dance instructor as we prepared for the dance festival. You know, the big regional dance festivals that have.
How many
Yeah,
times
I
did you
remember
say
them.
ball change?
No, we didn't do
I
the
hated
step ball
that.
step stuff. Well, maybe we did. I don't know. Hell, I don't remember what dances we did. I was in Gilbert, Arizona. We
You know,
probably did clogging and square dance.
Right. Swing your
man,
partner round and round.
I
Right.
was in my youth. I was always in a presidency. Deacons, teachers, priest quorum, always in a presidency. We didn't have
When I
enough.
was little, my dad got called to be in the stake presidency when we lived in Sioux Falls, South Dakota.
Whoa.
And the stake presidency included like Iowa and parts of Nebraska. And so I remember twice a month I would go with him to visit these little tiny branches that would meet like in these weird rooms above stores and stuff like that. We always had to drive a long ways, and then they would always feed us before we went home. That's what I
Wow.
always looked forward
Nice.
to. But yeah, so for the rest of my family, like they didn't want to go travel with my dad, and I loved going on road trips. So for
Wow.
the
That's
rest of my
cool.
family, you know, dad was just gone 2 Sundays a month doing his stake presidency calling.
That could have been why my
That's the
dad
thing.
wanted to be a Jack Mormon, so he could always be away from the family for other reasons than church.
That's the thing
Like-
though that I think like leadership at the local level, people just don't, unless you've experienced it in your own family, people don't think about how much moms and dads aren't available when they have this super demanding church calling that
Mhm.
takes them away from their family.
Yeah, because like Sunday mornings, I'd have to leave at like 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning, go to bishopric meeting, then ward council, and welfare, 3 meetings, and then church. You know,
Hmm.
Yeah. 3 meetings, then 3 meetings.
3 meetings, and yeah, you'd be at church for 6 hours.
6 meetings.
I love how we would plan to have, we would have meetings to plan meetings.
Meetings, yeah.
There's so
Well,
many effing meetings.
Yeah,
one of the
nothing
things
got
is I
done.
used to type up the program, whatever, you know, who was doing what. And I used to put the names that we would consider calling people on there. And the stake president saw that one time. He says, "You don't put people's names on there. They might see it." And I'm going, "Wow, I
Yeah,
shouldn't do that."
whatever.
It's like
Did you say take a chill pill, Bishop?
that was the stake president. It was
Oh,
during the
steak.
stake ward conference, and we were all in the bishoprics office with the stake presidency and the high counselor to the. I mean, you know, it was crowded, and you don't ever put anybody's names on there. Write it in pencil, but don't put it on. I went, okay.
I would have
I,
tossed him
I
a bottle of
So dumb.
Valium
Yeah,
and say, get the
exactly.
hint.
I
Jeez.
had an interesting calling.
What was it?
It was I was second counselor in Relief Society. I've done ward chorister, primary chorister, the 13-year-old Sunday school teacher, ward activities director, different, just all different kinds of things. But I was the building scheduler in, I think it was Bible Park Ward in Denver, Colorado. I was
Sounds
single,
hard.
divorced with a 4-year-old. And
Wow.
and
Oh
what's
my
interesting
gosh.
about being the building scheduler is you have keys
You
for the
cancel
building.
church? You cancel church.
Well, if there's a funeral and there's events, yes, you are completely in charge of just the scheduling, not maintenance,
Wow.
not anything. But there was a caveat to this job that I found exciting and wonderful that now is so disturbing. Part of the calling is you were responsible for providing the ward clerk with a copy of the talents and treasures questionnaire for every member, including babies. Favorite colors, favorite things they do, TV shows, all of it. And
Huh.
now
What?
discovering that this is part of how they knew so much about everyone is that it was part of a calling to actually make sure that every member in the ward had this filled, even if you were inactive, to try and
I've never
gather.
heard of that.
Oh
Yep.
yeah.
I've never heard
That
of
was
that.
part of
Wow.
being building scheduler. It was the
What
talents
year
and
was this?
treasures.
When was this?
It'd be 1991, 1990.
Really? Wow, I
Hmm.
never heard about that.
And I thought it was
I
so
think of
amazing because we knew
I
so
think of
much
all
and
of
it was so wonderful.
I think of all
Wow.
of the callings in the church worldwide. That position would have to put up with the most BS. Building scheduling, yeah.
Yep.
Ha
It was
ha.
fun though.
See, I always wanted to go to young men's. I didn't like being in those quorum presidencies. So I want a young men's calling, you know. And then when they split our award and I became the
Exactly,
Weeblos
Brittany.
leader, I'd go on
Hmm.
the scout camps with the Boy Scout leader. Always took me along with the kids because he knew I liked to be with the Boy Scout, you know, out there doing stuff. But man, oh.
What about you, Trevor?
Hmm?
What
What
callings
is
did you
the
have?
what is your
Uh,
what calling did you have in the church?
I was first assistant in my preschool before I quit,
Okay.
but I quit after that, so that's about as high as I got.
Well, you were almost to the president when you said that's it.
Well,
Yeah.
the bishop's the president, so he'd be just like I was the counselor to the bishop. We'd have our meeting with the bishop to talk about the guys in the priest quorum, right? Remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the first counselor was over the deacons, but he was an advisor because you actually had a presidency in the deacons quorum. The teachers quorum was the first counselor,
Mm.
and the
I missed
presidency,
that
and then the
comment.
bishopric was, you know, remember those? Those were the days, man.
Yeah.
And I had
Back
great,
when they had things.
you know, I, yeah, I had great counselors when I was growing up.
There was a special,
Kiki,
I can't remember the calling it wasn't, but I up here, there wasn't any seminary I could go to. And so in 79 and 80, I did seminary via correspondence course. They would
Wow.
mail me packets and I
hmm,
would and mail them back. And so that's how I did seminary.
I
And
only
the
went
BU
to
Kiki,
1 year
subsystem.
seminary
I
my
can relate.
senior year. Yeah. My
I
senior
was
year,
president. Oh, sorry, Tim. Go ahead.
no, because my parents wouldn't take us to seminary. But when I could drive, after I could drive, then I go to seminary. I took my sister, and I pick up my my friend's friend and a couple other people and drive to seminary. And I had to leave like 20 minutes early so I could get to my high school in time because everybody went to university, uni high, and I went to Hamilton. And even though my sister should have gone to Hammy and a couple other people, they wanted to go to university with all the Westwood Ward kids because they were the rich hoity-toity kids. And those Westwood Second Ward kids were just the, you know.
Well, I was seminary president, and I ended up getting caught sneaking out of seminary. My two best friends and I had this method when we wanted to leave. We'd go to the restroom one at a time. We'd meet outside and then we'd get on the ground and we would army crawl on our backs so that he couldn't see us out the window. And just when the last one of us was still on his back, we were all on our back. As I was army crawling backwards, I hit two hard things, and it was the seminary teacher's legs.
Oh
He had come
my.
around the other way out the back door and busted us wide open. But I can relate to what you're saying, Kiki.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah, I had to
Utah.
drive to the chapel, the Westwood Ward Chapel, because that's where it was. And then I had to drive back to school. Yeah.
Here in Utah, seminary was just like high school, so
I know. Yeah.
it's like totally different ballgame.
You guys had it easy. You could get release time and
Well,
go to
that's
the
not
building.
easy. It's like way more structured. It's like basically like a high school class.
Well, yeah,
I
but
did
I mean,
I did more
you didn't
seminary than any other subject at school. I
you
did
didn't have
more
to get
seminary than
up
anything.
you didn't have to get up at 6 in the morning to be there by 7. And
No,
then I
but
always
you had
sat in
to
the
do a
back
lot
of the
more there.
sure. But I always had to sit in the back of the classroom because I was the only one that left early.
Yeah.
Anyway, I even got an award for being the Harry Chester Book Slammer, Quiet Book Slammer Award.
Kiki's experience stinks.
What's Kiki's
Kiki's experience was God punishing her.
Oh
That
no,
skunk.
Kiki! Really? Ow! Whoa, man! Oh, so Kiki, did you get in tomato juice? How did you get rid of the smell? I want to hear about that. Okay, so how did you get rid of the smell? I want to hear about this.
That's the only way to do it, really.
Yep, tomato juice. Yeah, I know. Yep, tomato juice. Okay. Yeah.
I hate when that happens.
Oh.
I'll
So I'll just say something. When my son was in a mission at Brazil, I think the Sao Paulo mission, either there was a rumor or he knew of a bishop who was like taken off his calling because the bishop was skimming off the tithing somehow.
Hell yeah.
Taking his 10% cut.
Really?
That's the
He
way
got
to do it.
excommunicated for that, and he was never allowed back in. Because if you steal from the church, anybody who steals money from the church, there's no chance of ever coming back.
Wow,
Yeah, but you know
so
what? Committing SA on a child apparently
Yes.
doesn't hold
Oh,
the
you can be
same.
forgiven for that.
Yes, you can be.
Yeah,
That's
you
As long
can
as the
be
money's
let right
involved.
back in,
Yeah,
That's right.
the attorneys get told.
right?
I gotta start stealing money from the church.
And then my older brother was the finance clerk or whatever. And I remember calling him like 2 or 3 hours after his meeting. His church services were over, and he would text me back that he still hasn't been done counting all the tithing, and they're they got to balance it and they got to double check it and all those things. So it didn't seem like a fun job.
I
Yeah.
had to go to bishop's meeting once or twice. The bishops meet, I think it's once a month in the stake in the high council room, and they talk about their problems they've got in the ward, and I had an agenda that I had to talk about from our ward. Listen, all the other problems the other wards have, this is just the bishops talking, and like their trouble. Like one ward, its problem was teenagers getting pregnant, and another ward was not enough money for this or that. It's really interesting to listen to that.
So did they need more fertility? They weren't getting pregnant fast enough, teenagers?
Waiting too long. Only teenagers? You gotta get before 14. Come on. Gotta
But
repopulate the earth.
That's what happens when the Sunday school teacher leaves to go to the restroom.
That's right.
They
But
start
honestly, that's the
banging
problem.
It was in the
banging
water.
like bunnies.
I have
That's
a
the problem with
question for
their
you.
theology.
It's in the
How
water.
many of you created a calling, basically? When my brothers were off on their missions, I fed the missionaries every single week. I mean, there were different things that I kind of created, or was encouraged to create. I mean, did any of you do that in addition to what you were already called to do?
Hell no.
Brittany the apostate, I'll bet.
Well, I had because of my knowledge of church history, if people had problems with that and the bishop couldn't answer them, he'd send them to me.
Till they kicked you out?
Till they kicked me out. Yeah. Well, yeah. I had all the stuff on the Google Drive. I'd give them all those. I'd say, here's a floppy. There's all kinds of stuff on it. You have
Won't
any more
see you again.
questions? Come and talk to me.
It's nice knowing you.
Give him a CS letter.
I was the ward sports
that didn't
director.
exist then. This was long before that, man.
Yeah.
There was stuff on there about polygamy and Adam God, and people they'd come back and ask me questions. Well, what about this? What about what? I never heard about this stuff.
I was a ward sports director, and I had to convince my wife that watching football on Sunday was part of my calling.
Oh boy.
That
We
that
always watch
led to
football
you
on
being
Sunday.
on the chain gang, I bet you.
That's right.
Is that why you ended up on the chain gang?
That's another story, but yeah. But I actually did a lot for the ward sports directory. I'm director calling because there were not
Feed
enough
the
teams to
dogs.
play. So I would try to be the ward sports director for other wards to
I've
try to
got I've,
get their players out so that we
I've got
can.
to bow out. I've got to bow out for a minute, guys.
All right,
What?
just
Got to feed.
I'll be right back.
Tuesdays
feed the
without
dog?
Tim? Feed the demons?
Tuesday without Tim, apparently. So,
Yeah.
Gene, were you in charge of coordinating the
That was
ringers for
hilarious.
all of the sports teams?
so yeah. I
Oh,
actually
really?
presented an idea when I was in my celestial kingdom mode of thinking.
Celestial?
I
I mean, when
proposed
you
an
thought you were
idea
actually going to make it in?
that no matter who won the softball league, we would just beforehand we would select a team to represent our stake, no matter, and so that we would all play that team to try to help them be better. Right? That was my celestial thinking. It was sort of like what's that where everybody owns their property in common?
Communism?
Common
Consecration?
law?
Consecration. So I was trying to consecrate sports. I was trying to create a celestial sports program where it wasn't about winning. It was about helping your brother be better.
That
And
is socialism, Gene.
that didn't fly. That didn't fly.
How dare you? This is America.
Oh, when I was ward historian, that one was the worst. If you brought one program home, I would also get one in the mail to keep them, you know. So I had like shoe boxes full of them, you know,
Huh.
and it was horrible.
Huh.
Did
Like,
you keep
Whenever I
them
would
in the
walk into
bathroom?
sacrament meeting,
What was that?
Did you keep them in the bathroom? Just something to read while you're in there?
Oh yeah.
Peruse over the programs?
When I left Florida, I just went and put them back on the church step.
Whatever, just burned them all.
whenever I walked into sacrament meeting and somebody would hand me a program, I always felt like they were saying, "Here, you throw this away."
That reminds me, the only time in Salt Lake City, the only time I've ever been given like some religious handout, I was right by the Delta Center, like the NBA arena, and it was a Scientology guy. He was having that Scientology stuff, and I was just like, wow, this is crazy. I just read it all. It was hilarious.
I thought they were
Wow.
saying you make the paper airplane.
Yeah, it was basically that. Well, what is in Scientology? If you get other people to join, then it makes your fees less. So it's basically like you sign people up, so you don't have to pay as much.
See, when
Wait,
I
wait,
started
wait,
doing
wait,
Mormon
wait,
Church,
I actually went into the
So if-
Scientology order
Yeah.
in Salt Lake
Oh,
just a couple
time
days
out.
ago.
So
Yeah,
it's
it's
a
like multi-level.
virtual MLM.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's like you have to
Yes.
pay a ton of
Okay,
money
now-
to go through the classes, but if you sign up other people, then you have to pay as much.
Okay, now here's
So
something
you,
to get on board with. Your tithing is 10%, but if you baptize somebody, then it's 9%. You baptize someone else, it's 8%.
Yeah, it's
7,
basically
Brain
that.
6,
pin.
go
Maybe we'll
all
go
the
to
way
that.
down
Maybe we'll
until
go
they
to
start
that.
paying you to go to church.
Yeah.
you become
Well, my
a double
converts are
diamond
making so
baptizer,
much. I
converter.
would not be surprised they did that. Like seriously.
And you get a little pin with like the 2
Yeah.
diamonds on it, a little CTR ring where you've got a diamond in each of the little letters.
Maybe
Yeah,
they take a
somebody used to
cruise,
pay.
you know, for the top.
I would
Oh,
sign
yeah.
back up.
earners.
That would be so
That's right.
annoying.
The
Or why
top
don't we start our
baptizers
own?
all get to go on a cruise.
Oh yeah.
Start our own
Yeah.
tech. And go
you know, knowing what I
I'm all
know
for it,
now,
Jules.
I think if I were passing out programs, I'd tape a piece of candy, maybe a couple of those little candy bars on the back of them, and then people would be scrambling to get a program, and it would make you feel so accomplished.
Well, that reminds me of my parents. They brought me home a thing a while ago, and it was their ward. I think it's probably someone in the ward that has money that paid for it because the church is so cheap. But it's basically like, look up this scripture and then eat this candy, and a bunch of candy. It's like, look up this one and then eat this one. And it's like, this is just like reverse shock therapy, where it's like, read this scripture, eat this candy, you'll feel good. Maybe you'll think it's true, you know? It was like
I would
that whole
sit behind the
thing.
deacons, and every Sunday, except Fast Sunday, they would get candy for singing the sacrament hymn instead of just sitting there. Now
Yeah,
on Fast
Yes.
Sunday, that
like
was singing
Pavlov.
for God, or me, I didn't care, but either way. And then I encouraged the young men on the stand to do the same as they prepared. And I was that person who would, like I said, it's a calling that I just picked on my own, that no
Mm.
matter where I was, those poor deacons, they had to be guilted into or bribed into singing either way.
Okay, there was a
That's
guy
funny.
in my ward in South Dakota who used to give out Smarties candies. He would stand in the hallway after sacrament meeting was over, and if you went directly to your class, he would give you a roll of Smarties. And I swear, I don't know where he is now, but Brother Moyer, if you're out
He's
there,
dead.
I'm addicted to Smarties because of you. I don't know what happened.
I like Smarties. They're good.
They're great. Not
Yeah.
only that, but there was, this whole saying of like, you are what you eat. And so I ate Smarties. And so obviously I wasn't over there
That's
having
right.
dum-dums like the rest of the kids.
Yeah.
Smarties
Did
are
you
pretty
suck
much
them?
sugar and cement, and then they stamp them into a mold.
Yeah, it's like
Did you?
sweet cocaine.
Because with Smarties, you can suck them, and then all of a sudden they just fall apart into sugar,
Mm.
and there's this burst of deliciousness. Or you can pop them in your mouth and crunch them up. Which did you
Yeah, I was
do,
crunching.
Megan?
I was crunching them up.
Now I get my hits off of cocaine, so I don't really
Yeah.
care about the Smarties anymore.
Oh,
So
oh,
Britty is reminding me of something.
you can do the same with Coke, but just letting you know.
Exactly. Cocaine's
Yeah.
much more satisfying.
How many people-
Coca-Cola is.
Oh,
Go ahead, Gene. I was
I
going to
was
say Coca-Cola is still flavored with cocaine, actually.
the flavor.
Just-
of
They
cocaine.
used to,
Yeah,
yeah.
just
they
the
used to.
just the
Yeah.
flavor.
Yeah.
They still use it. No, they still use the flavor, just not the active
The
ingredient.
flavor, yeah, just not the
Yeah.
actual coca leaves.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But Britty's idea that the bishop would give people candy except for Fast Sunday.
No,
And,
every Fast Sunday. Oh, every day but Fast Sunday.
Every time but Fast
Except for
Sunday.
Fast Sunday, that's right.
Do you remember
Right.
like going on Fast Sunday, walking around and seeing the drinking fountains and start drinking and then being guilty? And then you had water in your mouth and you didn't know, like, should I swallow it or not? It's going to be a sin. It's
Always swallow it.
already in there.
It's polite. It's polite to swallow.
It's
See,
not
I
like-
never,
My best friend and I
I
were
don't-
that very same way with bean burrows from behind when we'd go to Circle K and buy bean burritos. Then we'd go behind and eat them. Once we'd get them chewing up in our mouth, we'd think, should we spit these out? Nope, I think we'll swallow them.
But that reminds me, when Tim was a kid, they had spittoons in the temple.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
right.
right, that's right, yeah.
It's like Rome. They spit out the food and felt guilty.
Gene, I just want to say, I promise you, I don't care what Sunday it was, I was never drinking out of one of those gross, nasty drinking water fountains.
Well,
Really?
Steve, the
Wow.
drinking fountain was right by the bathroom, right? And the hallway to the
Yeah.
gospel doctrine room in our chapel.
That
So-
Just let it
water is
run.
probably
Let
like
it run for a few seconds.
Yeah, you
It'll
let it
clean
run for a
itself
few
up.
seconds and take a
Yeah, that's
sip,
good.
and then
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of kids
I
like
do have
to
to say
spit
that,
and let it go down into the drinking fountain part so that the next
Nope.
person got beer
That'll get
spitting
flushed
on it.
out.
And if they put their gum on it, it tastes like minty.
Oh yeah, it's bonus.
oh yeah.
Bonus.
Sorry, Megan.
I mean,
Well,
I
we
do
used
admit,
to-
like, putting my gum on the edge of the sacrament cup so that when I drank my own sacrament water, it was minty, but never did that on a drinking fountain, on a public
Really?
drinking fountain. That's just disgusting. Gross.
The-
We
No,
used to
the good old
eat, we
chewed
used to
bubble
eat the
gum.
leftover. We used to eat the leftover sacrament bread on Fast Sunday.
Well, have you seen
You know
the
how
new
many
design
people
of
touch that
sacrament trays
leftover bread?
with the holes in the corners?
I know.
Because kids would drink out of the cups and they wouldn't get it all. And then as their mama would let them put it in the center thing and they'd dribble it across the other full sacrament cup. And this stretchy
I'm convinced.
spit
I
would
am
go into the water.
I am just convinced that sacrament has been responsible for most of the communicable diseases on the whole planet, like throughout every denomination. Like if people drink, like 100 people drinking out of the same wine goblet, and then not only that, but the sacrament trays, where those deacons were not washing their hands before they broke that bread or filled up the water cups.
Gee, why would the deacons need to wash their hands, Megan?
Yeah.
Well, because 50% of hands have had a. Anyway. But I know personally, my own personal children, I can attest to this. And my children would take, they would take the sacrament cup and they would drink some and then they would go try to put it back in and it would just get like everywhere. It was gross. That's why we sat in the front row, because we always got it first and then everyone behind us had to suffer.
You sit behind the deacons. See?
Yeah.
And then there's no one in front of you for the rest of the service.
I will tell you, though, I will never forget the Sunday that the power went out at our church building and we had sacrament meeting in the parking lot. And it might as well have been drive-through sacrament meeting. And I actually suggested, they put, the chairs out for everybody to go sit out there and do sacrament meeting. And I said, as long as we're doing it out here in the parking lot, we might as well just get in our cars and just drive through. It would be so much faster, more efficient. And I'm going
to keep that idea in mind, Megan, when I become prophet.
We had a bowl of water. We'd wash our hands before we had a bowl of water that we'd wash our hands in before we blessed it. Yeah.
What?
But Tim, was there any soap in the water? Where did the water come from?
The water came from the same place that the water for the cups came from. We had a little bowl of water.
In it?
Huh?
There was soap in it?
Yeah.
Well, you don't rinse your hands?
You were ahead of your time then.
Soap just helps water be more water. That's all.
Don't rinse the soap off?
Back when we were kids.
Well,
that happened in a couple of boards I was in.
Did they dry their hands after washing them?
What year was this?
Yeah, we had a towel there. We had a little, and sometimes later on we'd use wipes.
Was this pre-indoor plumbing?
We had, yeah.
Yes.
I remember the first time I ever saw wipes was Kentucky Fried Chicken. They were the first ones that had the little hand wipes because it'd be so greasy all the time.
When I was on my mission, we had it was a branch. We didn't have any wards. And I'm sure I've told this before, but they would just fill one glass of water. And the bishop would take the sip first, and then they'd pass it throughout the congregation. And we missionaries would all try to sit up front so that we wouldn't get the little breadcrumbs that all the kids would leave in it after eating the bread.
If I was first, I would just chug the whole thing.
Absolutely not.
My bad.
Nope. Would not do it.
Yeah, that whole wine thing.
Would not do it.
Drink out of the same cup.
Because we'd wash our hands during the sacrament hand.
That's got to be like 100% wine. For me to do that, it's got to be 100% wine.
So to go back to for a little bit for local Mormon leadership and callings, before the Church of Korihor gives a 3-hour sermon or something.
Jesus.
I wanted to bring up the fact that my wife would have some leadership position in Young Women's and Relief Society, and they would be told, hey, you need to fulfill this calling and just pray and get an answer. She would pray and she'd like nothing, first of all, right? Then, here's how you do it. You pray and you think good thoughts while you're going through the war directory, and then God will
think of the name.
God will help you think of the name that you're looking for, right? So then she finally does what she thinks. This must be it. It's the closest I've ever come. So she submits the name, and the bishop says, "No, we have something else in mind for that sister," right? What the hell, God?
No, we've already committed her to the nursery, so you can't have her.
Yeah. And so here they try to tell her to follow the Spirit, right? And then the Spirit is wrong.
Yeah.
That was the wrong Spirit.
I also want to say, along the lines of something you alluded to earlier, Gene, is that I was definitely passed over for callings before I went through the temple. And I know this because, I didn't go through the temple because my spouse was not a member. Then when he did join, it took me like 7 or 8 years before I finally got to go to the temple because my bishop was like, you should wait for your husband. I was like, okay. So when I finally did go through the temple, I
He knew it
felt,
was in there with the whole,
yeah,
you
I
gotta
felt,
obey your husband.
right, exactly. You got to
So,
obey your husband. And if he's not
yeah.
going, then
Yeah,
you
that's
shouldn't
a big
go.
problem. Yeah.
So once I did go through the temple, I felt prompted to share about my temple experience in Relief Society testimony meeting. And
Oh no.
afterwards, I was approached by the Relief Society president, and she was like, oh my gosh, when you said that you had been through the temple, my first counselor and I just about fell off of our chair because we really wanted to call you to be a Relief Society teacher, but we just really felt it needed to be somebody who'd been through the temple. And so we wanted to call you, but we couldn't. But then when you said you'd been through the temple, we just thought,
Ray of
and so
sunshine.
then I was finally worthy to be called to be the Relief Society teacher once a month.
Thank God I went
Lucky.
to the temple.
But
You
I
know,
know for a fact too that I was passed over for other callings. Like I was the secretary in in the Young Women's Presidency, but I wasn't allowed to be one of the Young Women's counselors because I wasn't sealed in the temple. And that was not the example that they wanted to put forth for their young women. So
And
When I was
when
second
my
counselor in
mother,
Relief Society, that's what happened to me basically.
Huh.
My husband did inappropriate things and then ended up in a brig and in jail and all kinds of bad, being on registries and bad stuff. And I got released from my calling because obviously I did something wrong.
Yeah,
And that was hard because I gave my heart and soul to the calling, and then even though
that's
my
crazy.
life was kind of falling apart, that's what I was looking forward to, was being able to do my calling, and it was yanked away. It's like I
That's
couldn't be
crazy.
around human beings anymore.
That's so
wow,
crazy.
when
Now,
my mother was primary president, she called sisters who weren't active or semi-active, and their job was to come on when we had it on Wednesdays, and they teach primary on Wednesdays, and that sometimes it was the only church they had, you know,
yeah.
which was
Lucky
real
them.
interesting. Yeah, but she thought about the inactive and the semi-active, and she did reach out to them before she reached out to anybody else.
They got it figured out. Leave them alone.
Well, this is back in the 60s.
Back
This
when
is
it was
the
true.
60s.
Yeah, back when it was
Well,
true.
before we had
When the church was true.
back
Yeah,
when the church was true, yes.
it was worthwhile.
Yeah.
When
Even
Sunday
before the
teaching
white
was cool.
salamander.
That was before
Pre-internet.
1978. No additional
Yeah.
comment. It was before 1978.
Oh,
No
All
additional
right.
wow.
Pre
comment.
Okay.
Whoa.
Hoffman.
So Church of Korah, what were your callings?
It was pre-salamander.
I my last priesthood leadership calling before my mission. I was the teachers quorum president. Now the leader of the entire Church of Korahor. That's how that
So
pathway works.
so when
It's an
you got home
upgrade.
from your mission, they didn't throw you into any kind of callings?
They did. They made me a Sunday school teacher, but when I stopped showing up for Sunday school, I guess that probably fizzled out.
Okay.
I pretty much,
That'll do it.
I pretty much
canceled.
immediately stopped going to church about 2 or 3 months after I got home from my mission. So, yeah.
Wow.
Okay.
And so, yeah.
Go
But
fight
I tell you,
Rotterdam.
and when I was a teachers quorum president, my first counselor's covert responsibility, we had an arrangement. I said, all of our advisors are going to find out, are going to make all these stupid suggestions for mutual night about how we should build birdhouses with the Maya maids, and their stupid
What?
advisors are going to say so that we need to do some kind of potluck, and all the boys need to cook for all the girls, and then like last minute we'll wind up making them Rice Krispie treats or some shit. I'm like, so here's your job, because he was like good looking and really popular with women. with girls, no women, girls. And I said, your job
Maybe it's
is to be, you are the secret liaison to the Maya maids. And he's like, okay. I said, your job is to find out what they really actually want to do for mutual night. And so that we can just like mutiny against our adult advisors and just watch as they roll their eyes and say, it's always ice blocking. They only want to go ice blocking. So
you're
They
gonna
needed a
build
talents and treasures
birdhouses.
questionnaire.
right.
Where was this? Where was
This was in Mesa, Arizona.
Wow.
Ice block? What's ice blocking?
Ice blocking.
Are you kidding me?
Ice block.
You don't know?
You get a big
ice as a
ass
sled.
block of dry ice and you use it as a sled. That's exactly right. And you could do it all day, man, all day.
I'd like to
I'm
bear my
surprised.
testimony. I'd like to bear my testimony. I know that Joe is true because I was raised in Mesa, Arizona as well.
No,
And
we didn't do that. I never heard of it.
Hey, Randy.
Yes, sir.
Randy, my fellow Phoenician, when you are going, you realize you are going the wrong direction on this street, and you have to advise the people in your car that you are going to abruptly be going the other direction.
Oh, I know what's coming
You
up.
say, I'm gonna
flip a bitch.
I'm
gotta
gonna
flip a bitch.
flip a
Yeah,
bitch,
I knew that was coming. I knew that was coming.
Hold up here. I'm gonna flip a bitch. Oh shit. That is in the Urban Dictionary. I was surprised that's not a saying everywhere in the country. I was like, but like people
It
from
was in
Phoenix
Cali.
all know flip a bitch. You gotta flip a
Yeah,
bitch.
Utah.
We didn't have
No,
the money
I
for
think
dry
it's a
ice. We used a
California
5-pound block and a towel and a pillowcase and a big hill.
Wow.
Oh,
What?
without dry ice?
What was that?
Nope, we
Just
used
Are you talking about?
5-pound block of ice, a
Oh,
towel
should go
down
back to
Centennial
that.
Hill in Sheridan,
Oh, wow.
Colorado. Use a
I thought she was
pillowcase to
talking.
drag it back up the top.
Okay, that's something else. I
Wow.
was talking about flipping a
That-
bitch with a pillowcase.
Yeah.
That would not have
That's
lasted long
completely
in Mesa. I'll tell you
different,
that right now.
No, not at all.
No, dry ice lasts that much longer.
Yeah.
Britty the apostate and I always said flip a female dog. We never
Yeah.
used the B word.
Oh, yeah.
The B word. Flip a B word.
and
Every
helicopters were
Every Mormon
hectocopters, right?
Okay, there's swearing, and then there is directions for driving. And nary the twain shall meet. I knew not one Mormon who did not say flip a bitch. Every Mormon in Mesa, Arizona knows flip a bitch.
A
We
lot
would
of
always
times,
say to go forward, never straight when we'd give directions. You're going forward, never straight.
Oh, always straight. You gotta keep it straight. Mormon.
No, in
No,
Mesa,
that's
we were
so-
always going straight.
Can't say
How
that.
do you turn a block of ice? That's what I want to know.
How do you what?
Turn a block of
How do
ice.
you
Turn
steer
it.
the block of ice?
You've got a
Yeah.
towel, and
Oh.
it's
Use-
kind of like
You
I don't know,
don't.
it's
Is
tobogganing
it like that
or
Olympic
something.
sport where somebody
Yeah.
with
You
a
just
Like
go
Is
Cool
the-
Runner,
Wait,
you know?
wait,
goes
wait.
in front of you?
just
Gravity.
Is the pillowcase
This
under
wasn't
the
a course,
block
it was
of
a
ice?
hill.
Wait,
No, the
hang on.
pillowcase you just hold. You got the towel and the block of ice, and that's what you're riding on.
In
You
the
just
You
go
know
down
what
the
I-
hill.
Just
wanted
going
to
down a
say-
hill.
in the Bay Area, we had hills and trees, eucalyptus trees, and the leaves were oily and slippery, and so we would use cardboard and slide on cardboard on that. We-
Fun.
In the Bay Area, we preserve our
Cool,
ice,
so-
for drinks, and such.
Oh, that'd be sweet.
I wanted to start a business in Mesa, Arizona, where I'd have one of those big gravel trucks, but I'd fill it with ice, and then I'd go from house to house that had prescribed by services, and I would put a huge, like 6 or 8 wheelbarrows of ice in their swimming pools, because the water
Nice.
would get so damn hot in the swimming pools in Mesa.
And
And I thought
that's a
that
good
would be a
idea.
good business. Yeah.
That's a
Yeah,
good
people.
freaking idea.
Cool the pools down before a pool party,
Yeah, the Cool Pool Company. Cool Pool Co.
right?
Yeah, flip Kiki over there. Flip Kiki. Somebody flip Kiki up here.
Flip Kiki?
Yeah, flip Kiki. No, Timothy. No, not like that.
Don't flip the Kiki, Tim.
Not what we
Contain
meant.
yourself.
No.
I'm talking about a
Dear
bitch, and you're
God.
making it all dirty. You're making it all sexual. Good Lord.
That was sexual.
Oh, do you like this, or this?
What the
That's sexual.
Timothy?
Blur that, Gene. Blur that and post. Blur that out.
Tim, I don't know how things worked back on the Ark, but here in this modern age, you have to be careful with your hand gestures.
You could be arrested, Tim.
Oh boy. Okay. Sorry.
I did want to mention when I was on my mission, however, there was a calling. I didn't know that ward mission leaders were a thing growing up in Mesa, which shocked the president of my mission training center. He's like Elder Rollins, where are you from? I said, I'm from Mesa, Arizona. And he's like, excellent. He says, tell me embarrass your testimony about a time when you were called by the missionaries and the board mission leader to give a referral. And I was like, a what? And he's like, a referral. And I'm like, a referral for what? And he's like
a little skirt?
that. And he said, in my MTC, this is our MTC president in Lima, and he said, that makes me want to say a bad word, Elder Rollins. Like, what the hell? He's like, what the hell? Are you serious? He's like, you were never asked to give a referral to the missionaries. I said, I'm just now being made aware that was even a thing. I'm like, I thought ward mission leaders were like, they held dances or something that you could invite friends to if they have time or something like that. That's what I thought ward mission leaders were.
That's probably what they do.
Titties.
So yes,
Titties.
everybody, I want to draw everybody's attention to the bottom of the screen. Kiki is saying at least he didn't say titties as soon as they went live. And that's in honor of a relatively new program that's on Monday nights. And Megan, tell us a little bit about that program where it starts off with titties sometimes.
Ooh.
Well, just the one time so far, but you never know what's going to happen when Kiki and I get together. Kirsten and I have decided to do family night that's actually fun. And we, the two of us together, have decided that we're going to teach Mormonism 101 out of the classic Book of Mormon reader.
Oh, God.
Which, for those who don't know,
it's false
is a
advertising.
graphic novel that includes the severing of arms.
Oh.
Make her big. Make her big.
There, I'm making it big, Megan.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Flip that ship to.
I have to
flip.
Hang on. I've got to find the best. I have to find the
Flip
best
that
one.
shit to Alma 30. You gotta show us some Korahor in that.
I'm waiting for the titties to come in here.
Yeah. Alma 30. Yeah. I'm trying to drive traffic to their show. It's posted on Megan's channel. You just go
on Monday nights. We're definitely going to be going through this graphic novel, and unfortunately, I cannot find the Ammon story right now. It's my favorite one, but at least we have an honorable mention here of the wicked Lamanites killed lots of people. There's lots of violence in this graphic novel. But nice. So Kiki and I get together. We take turns giving the lesson. There's always a family home evening treat, which may or may not involve spirits of some kind. And we actually have a good time unpacking our Mormon trauma on Monday nights, where we go through family night like it used to be in the olden days, except for also there might be alcohol involved.
Okay. Varying the lead,
and by accident the other night when I went live, we're used to recording it on Sunday mornings and then posting it on Monday nights, and we did it live on Monday night, and Kirsten didn't realize that I had gone live, and the first thing that she said was about titties. So there we go. It happens. It happens sometimes. It's okay.
Can we still see it? Or did you edit it out?
I didn't edit it out. I never edit anything.
Well, okay.
No, it's still available.
I think
They're
we need
just
to go on
talking.
and
They were
see
just
that
talking
out.
about titties, Randy. Don't get excited. They're just
No, her
talking about
titties,
titties.
her titties were showing.
I read somewhere that if a man touches a breast every day, his life will be better.
Talking is
Amen.
titillating.
Tim, why you guys share this shit that I share with you in confidence, man? What the hell?
That's private. You got paid for that.
Those are
Private.
secret.
So for everybody that
I
wants, I'm posting a link to the show, and you could, if you don't get to hear the word titties on YouTube often enough, you just click over to that show, and it'll
And I will
satisfy.
mention, and you obviously are not attending godless sermons on Sundays if you're not hearing titties enough on YouTube.
There you go.
That's a regular. Jules will attest. Jules will attest. Kim will
Okay.
attest.
Yeah.
Seeing is believing.
Megan will attest. We talk
Seeing is
tits all the
believing,
time.
Joe.
You can't
Seeing
have
is
too many
believing.
titties.
I mean, we might have to start a Cora Horror OnlyFans. I'm not above it. I mean, if we're gonna do that,
And in case,
we gotta get this
anybody
tithing
wants to
money.
know, in case anybody wants to know at YouTube,
Maybe the first OnlyFans church.
tits
Is there an
are
OnlyFans church?
birds, and bird
There's
watchers
gonna
know
be
that.
now.
What was that, Gene?
Sorry, Gene.
Tits are birds, and bird watchers know that. And so we're not
Oh yeah.
just saying, we're just
being cool.
nature lovers.
This
Do we
has been
have
the funniest series of unfortunate events.
I'm just turning it,
Technical
man. I can't do
difficulties.
this anymore.
Yeah, just do it. Fine. Just go
There
with
we
it.
go.
We're fine.
There, we got titties.
There she goes.
We are live.
How the hell are you
Within the
doing?
first 20 seconds of the YouTube video.
You got double check.
Saying the T word. It's okay.
I mean, you know you left.
you just
You know you
doubled your
left the
audience.
church for a reason.
That should be a short.
Yeah. How do you
You're killing
think
me,
that
Smalls. You're killing me.
people who think that that titties should have nothing to do with church, how the hell do you think Brigham Young got all those people to follow him all the way across those freaking plains to get to this dry ass place? Come on. Like, why would we
Well,
follow
wait
you?
a
It's
minute.
like once you get out there, we'll give you all the titties you want.
Brigham
The
Young.
Holy
is
Spirit, let's go.
Brigham Young is the only one that had a wife. Everybody else, nobody else had any women.
Wasn't it?
I think he and Heber were
What?
the two.
Yes.
Yes.
The ladies.
It's
How did they
true.
get here then?
No, when they first came to Utah,
Oh.
there were no women with the men. There was, I think, Brigham and Heber were the only two that had wives.
Oh,
Like
that
the
had
party.
them with them.
Them.
I thought you
For the
were
first 10
saying that
minutes.
they were the only polygamists. I'm like,
No. They were the only two that had, if I remember right. Oh, what do we got
boy.
here?
Once you go up to the
Okay.
cabin in the woods.
I thought you said we sold it.
We sold the property. I worked it out so that we could relocate the cabin, but it is going to be up in Tahoe for another couple of days. Maybe you can take a date up there.
How am I supposed to find someone willing to go into that musty old claptrap?
The cabin, yes. Yeah, that would be difficult too.
Good job. Arrested Development.
What is that from?
Claptrap.
What is that?
Arrested Development.
Okay.
Yeah.
Big in the early
I-
2000s.
I went to go see Weapons today. I highly recommend it.
As a gun store? Gun
It's
store?
really good. RFN said last night on the newscast he liked it, and I thought about
What
it.
is this?
It's called Weapons.
As a gun
is-
store?
No.
No. I guess the
Have you seen
movie.
it, Jules? Have you seen
No,
it?
I've heard RFM's
Yeah,
Yes.
it's really,
Today.
really good. It's really good.
Ugh, I heard him talk. I didn't listen, I guess.
So just to bring back to the topic again,
Anyway,
there's other local leaders that we haven't talked about, and
okay.
that is the stake president. And Tim, tell everyone how stake presidents are chosen.
By the amount of money they donate to the church.
So when a
Or
traveling elder
or-
comes into town, they need to pick a new stake president. What do they ask for? They ask for a list.
of how much
Money.
the highest tithe payers.
The top 15
Or-
tithe payers.
Or or the lawyer that protects the GA's kids when they're in California, which was my stake president, who later became a 70. I didn't know this at the time, but he was the one the church went to whenever a GA's kid got in trouble down in LA. They'd call him and say, "Hey, go defend this kid," or somebody from your firm, go defend him. Yeah. So yeah. So do favors for the GAs, or you're the highest tithe payer in the state.
Yeah, highest tithe payer, or saving the most church money from keeping the news out of the news
Kids
of
out of the
SA
news.
out of
Yeah.
the newspapers.
When you say highest tithe payer, you're talking about like money, right? You're not talking about like
Yeah.
really high
Money.
Now
yeah,
it makes
fun.
sense
Okay.
about my
Up to
ward.
6 foot
It
8.
would have been cool if there's the highest member. That'd be cool.
Yeah, how do you know who's highest?
Yeah.
How would you even know?
Lots of
Maybe
Oh,
some,
yeah.
maybe some people are just quiet.
The people that are hungry, right? They're munching. The munchies.
Yeah.
That's right.
And
He's
the
a
high
glazer, baby.
counselors.
Like
Laser.
that
If you're
one,
not,
that one with
if
the
you're not,
talkies. He's definitely the highest.
if you're not in the stake presidency, then
Very
it's one of his
spiritual.
counselors, or it's somebody on the high council. That whole group of men are the highest tithe payers in the state.
And here's what I also heard, I was like 58 or something when I heard it, is that when bishops are released and a new person becomes a bishop, the released bishop usually gets called into the high council so that the new bishop can do his own bishoping and not have to be in the shadows of the other bishop,
Or they take a high counselor and make him a bishop, which I saw.
or the other way around, right?
Yeah.
Or back and forth. I've seen that happen.
Because I have
Yeah,
an
those are
uncle.
dead though, right?
I have an uncle that was a bishop for a long time, and then they released him and put him in the high council.
And the
Now there
Relief,
is
when the
no
Relief
highest.
Society, the stake Relief Society president is released, they make her nursery leader.
I thought it was janitor.
They treat them a
Volunteer
little
janitor.
differently, or chorister in the primary, right, Megan?
Head janitor.
Primary is the top job.
Exactly.
I
No,
was
my
the-
favorite job was playing the piano in the primary because you just show up, you sit there, you play a few songs, you go home, you don't have to talk to anybody. It's
You
great.
jam out.
Yeah, my favorite job was working with the kids too. I liked my calling, teaching the Blazers, and I liked my Weebelows calling. That was better than anything else. You know, I didn't have to deal with people's crap.
Blazers got it figured out.
Yeah.
They're real chill.
Kiki says that
I
she
used to
learned
feed
that as
them
well, so her
things.
dad would be able to predict who the next stake president was because he probably could tell who was making the most money and paying the most tithe.
Oh, I was sitting in state conference listening to these guys talk. Who was stake president going to be? And they said it's going to be so and so, and they were right. And I turned around and
Prophetic.
said, "How do you know?
Prophecy.
How do you know?" He says, "It's all about money, kid." I said, "Yeah." Yeah.
Spoiler alert.
Well, if he's a counselor, he's usually called the stake president. Either he comes from the high council or he comes from the stake presidency, or sometimes even a bishop.
But to be fair, if God didn't like him, how'd they get all that money? If God likes you, you got money, right?
That's how that
Right.
works.
Prosperity
It's because-
gospel.
Unless
Yeah.
there are non-members present, in which case, you know,
That's just dark. That's black magic.
Statistically,
Black magic.
yeah, right. I was on TikTok. Heaven help me, but I've been back on TikTok. I don't really mean that, heaven help me, but I got back on TikTok and I started going through. Apparently, I had subscribed to like every Mormon that goes live on TikTok, and they were having this conversation. This group, like interfaith group defending Mormonism, and someone mentions, you know, I have noticed this about Mormons. They must be doing something right because they're all rich. Like all Mormons are rich. And I said, that's a very mammon-based ideology about what makes you a good person. But okay, and B, that's not true of all Mormons. It's true certainly out here in Utah, generally speaking. But I said, what never gets mentioned is the nepotism and how nepotism made that whole thing, right? And of course, I got a whole bunch of people jumping down my throat. So, okay, look, here's what I'm saying. any community, you're going to have nepotism. Parents look out for their kids. It makes sense. You look out, uncles and aunts look out for their nieces and nephews. Makes sense. That all makes sense. But if you don't understand this piece of history, there was a time when Howard Hughes came out to Las Vegas and started up the defense industry with mainly Mormons. He didn't trust people who weren't Mormons. And they called it the Mormon Mafia. If you don't believe me, look that shit up. All of a sudden,
the actor Wilford Brimley was one of his bodyguards.
Wilford Brimley.
Yeah.
He eats apple pie and ice cream and people with type 2 adult onset diabetes.
Sugar diabetes. Sugar diabetes.
When I first heard the word nepotism, I thought it was a worse word than titty because I didn't know what it meant and it sounded bad. And now I know it is worse. It is worse than titties as far as the church.
Don't ever touch anybody else's nepotism.
No, stay away.
I was in college when I first heard the term mutual masturbation, and my Mormon brain went, "What mutual are you guys going?"
Yeah, activity time.
Bye, Mom. I'm going to mutual. See you later.
Yeah, I'm going to mutual. I'll be back in 2 hours or 5 minutes, maybe 4 minutes.
You never heard of a circle jerk? Prior to that,
Isn't there a hymn that talks about mutual masturbation? Maybe that's some other.
I think that is my cue to say goodnight because I'm battling sinus infection garbage.
We're just about done anyway. Thanks, Megan, for all your stories.
Everybody send good thoughts to Megan's sinuses so they'll clear up.
Yeah, thank you. Either that or I'm just going to go record a bunch of Stevie Nicks songs while I've got these low notes still out here.
Oh, boy. All right. Take care, honey.
I'll see you later.
Feel better.
Bye. Oh, that was great.
Well, I saw titties in church one time.
Really?
You told us that story, your mission.
Oh, yeah. Did I tell that already where I was speaking as a missionary? And
yeah,
there they don't
breastfeeding ladies.
When they breastfeed babies. Man,
Oh,
she didn't just breastfeed. She just pulled everything down, just everything, where she's all hanging out on the front row.
That's Europe.
Yeah.
That's
Europe. European titties are just as amazing.
You should have brought slides.
Were your newsstands nothing but porn magazines? I mean, we walk up to buy candy or something in the newsstand, and all the magazines were porn.
Well, Europeans think that Mormons' pamphlets are porn.
I agree with them.
Oh boy.
I mean, they only had tabloids in Peru, that's for sure. But no, and tabloids were in Peru. In all Latin America, tabloids means ass on the cover. It's like ass and world report. And so, but the
same with the weather report.
Yeah. Oh, the weather report's much more vulgar. Damn it. Oh yeah, I did an episode with an OnlyFans, a friend of mine who does OnlyFans, and she was
What's his name?
Mormon. Her name is AJ. You can go and watch the episode. We talk about how to find her, how to find her OnlyFans.
I thought it was a guy. I was going to be interested.
She's making a lot of money, I hope, doing it.
She makes pretty good money.
Good.
Yeah.
Good for her.
But but when she was living out here in Lehigh, she talks about it on the episode. And she said one day, she's like, "Do you remember I got called out by the bishopric because I pulled out my boob and started breastfeeding one of my babies in sacrament meeting?" She's like, "I got punished for that. I got called on the carpet for it." I'm like, that's pretty fucked up. But there's something to say for that. It is different here in America than it is in other places. Because definitely in Peru, if you got kids, in Peru they breastfeed. It's not common for mothers to breastfeed their kids till they're like 5 or 6 years old. So you'd have little kids run up to mom and plop, out it goes.
Yep.
Yeah, it's one thing to breastfeed in church. That's fine. But in some of these foreign countries, it's like they wear a tube top so they can just pull it down to their stomach and sit there topless in church, which I think should be a rule that they do that.
Hell
But
yeah.
Oh.
Sexist church, I'm down.
And I know that people are thinking, oh, how sexist. Breastfeeding is nothing sexual. But let me tell you, when you're a
It's a
19-year-old missionary,
Oh, it's the
a
greatest
boob
thing
is
ever.
a boob. Yeah.
That's right. A boob
When
is a boob.
you had a working mom as a kid, even more enticing.
Wait. Well,
I'm saying,
wait.
we
What?
neglected from
You're-
that thing. You know what I'm saying?
You're working. Wait a minute. Okay. I don't mean to be insensitive.
When
but
you're,
what was your mom
no,
working in.
Yeah, your mom was gone when you were a kid. That's getting enforced that growing up. Didn't have as much as you wanted.
Oh, Jesus!
You know what I'm
I
saying?
totally got the wrong idea.
Wait,
what
Very,
you're
very
saying.
deep.
Yeah,
No,
I
I'm
was
saying
thinking
if,
working
I was
mom.
it's like a psychological
like,
thing. If like
be
you
very sensitive
were
here because he just said
when
that
you
his
were
mom was a
neglected as a
working
kid.
woman.
When
So,
your
Wait,
mom's a
wait.
working girl.
Let him
if
speak.
you're neglected as a kid and you don't get as much breastfeeding as you need, then that kind of builds that fetish in your mind. So psychologists think.
Oh.
I was
Yeah.
never breastfed as a kid because I was
Yeah.
adopted away at birth. So
That's just
no
I've heard
wonder.
that from psychologists. Yeah.
I
Wow.
Well, there you go.
concur.
Randy bears testimony.
Randy has proof.
So that's what happened, Randy. That's your excuse.
Hey, I
Yeah.
got turned on when I was in
Some
Chicago.
disability now.
I got turned on
Go
when I
ahead.
was in Chicago and saw two sailors walking abreast.
Ooh.
Like,
Ooh.
was it at least on a leash?
Did it have a name?
My mom had struggles nursing me, and the doctors, because I would cry a lot, and she would wonder what's going on, and the doctor got some formula and fed me, and the crying went away. And he says, "You're not producing enough," and so I was supplemented with almond milk. So to me, I go nuts over titties. So that's ties both of them together.
Boo.
I was
Not
born
even-
premature. I was born premature, so I didn't breastfeed at all when
I'm
I was
still
a baby.
premature.
Yeah, it's always
I am.
premature for now on.
But now,
Yeah,
but I was fed for the first few months of my life. I was fed the cream that formed on top of goat's milk. And I would get goat's milk, and I still can't pass by a goat field without
grabbing one, wrestling that goat down.
They say, "Do you like goats?" And you say, "Nah."
Says, yeah.
We're losing our audience. All this titty talk.
We have an audience? People
How are
watch
we-
this?
Are you people still here?
Do you
We
think,
got,
Randy, we would get more views if we called this Tuesdays with Titties instead of Tuesdays with Tim?
Yeah,
Titty
probably.
cast.
Or Titty
Probably.
Tuesdays with Tim.
Titty
Taco
cast.
Tuesdays.
Well,
Taco
people
Tim's
sometimes
Titties.
think,
No,
people sometimes
Tim's
think that Tim is a
Tuesdays.
boob.
Put that up.
Tim's Titties Tim's Titties Tuesdays. Or Titties
Tuesdays with Titty Tim.
Yeah, Tuesdays with Titty.
Tuesdays
I
with
mean,
Titty Tim.
If it was working with for Cardinellis to have a show called Tits before, wasn't more fair found out about it?
Can we call this Tits? Tits too?
Check out
It's just tits
Woody's
too.
comment here. Next one
Yeah,
down.
screw Taco Tuesday. Or Taco Titty Tuesdays with Tim.
Oh my God.
Oh, yeah. Well, you throw tacos in there, and now you're talking.
Well, I wasn't going
Right.
to mention anything, but now that
Titty
that
tacos
comment
and
came
Tim?
up, I will say I am still a little bit resentful with all of the little factory, workers from the
Guilt.
mission era in here. I'm not once good missionary boy. I'm still sore about that. Very
Yeah.
sore.
Randy and
Very
Tim.
You're
Fire
very,
back up,
very
Joe. That's why
disciplined.
you were sore about it.
Dirty snippers. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I didn't go. It's like I can't turn that factory off. No thanks.
Well, I turned it off for about
10 minutes.
about 6-8 months before I was taking a shower in it, and anyway, it just happened. And
The night
that
shift
was-
foreman turned it on.
That was that.
I was informed by Boyd K. Packer that you couldn't go on a mission if you did that. You were dirty boy. You couldn't go on a mission.
Wow.
I was in the same boat.
I had a friend who had a child, and he went.
Whoa, that can happen. The factory can auto-generate children.
Yes.
First of all, no one would be on a mission. If
well,
that was
now they're
rule,
letting those 40-year-olds go. So
I thought women had to be involved.
Yeah, somehow. Yes.
Sickos, how dare you, MB? We're good guys.
No, we're sickos.
We're sickos.
Yeah, speak
Come
for
on,
yourself.
let's admit it. We're all deviants. We're very
That's true.
deviated.
Look at us. Come on.
well, I did ask Nathan Hinckley if I could see his titties yesterday.
Ooh.
Oh, wow.
Was he modest, dishonest?
He, I can't remember what the Facebook post was. Oh, crap, I can't remember. Something about, I wanted him to show his titties because he brought it up first, but now I can't even remember what it is. Whatever his Facebook post was yesterday. Now, obviously, we've been talking titties too much.
It blew Randy's mind.
Because I've lost my control of titty thought.
Titty overload.
It's time for commercials. Jules, do you have any shows coming up on your channel?
Well, I have do a Thursday night live stream. I do a Friday night, and then Saturdays I started another channel with a friend. And we've been trying to do, like last time we did do something on the West Mesa bone collector murders here in Albuquerque.
Oh.
So we're trying to do something along those routes.
That's cool.
Very apropos for a nurse, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
True crime.
Yeah, that was actually, when she looked it up, you know, and she told me about it. We actually went up to the West Mesa, went to the monument, and
oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So, and then they have like the monument where the girls were found, and then then they have like, they actually have a monument for the dog that found the first femur.
Wow,
that's cool.
That's how they that's how I discovered it. The lady walking her dog, picks up a bone.
They killed the dog?
No, some lady was just walking the dog. Dog picks up a bone, and she's all, this guy looks different.
Wow.
Mailed it to her sister, and that was a nurse.
Wow.
And it turned out to be a human femur.
Was this pre-camera phone?
Yeah.
Okay,
This
that makes
happened
sense.
I think this was like in the 2000.
Okay.
In the mid 2000s. Yeah.
You used to have mail bones back then.
Mm-hmm. And so it was like back then it was like a construction site in that area. So there's satellite images.
I think I've heard that.
Yeah, there's satellite images now that they find where cars were coming in and out of that area.
Wow.
That's right.
Yeah. That's
Joe
right.
is making a bold move tomorrow in order to boost ratings. He has a special guest.
It's reached desperation. As you guys know, on Wednesdays I do Charlatans Never Change, where I call out the swindlers of religion. Tomorrow we're doing a man you may have heard of. It's called The Book of Mammon, and it's the story of Russell M. Nelson, with special guest Randy C. Watts. Booyah!
I love him. I love him.
Randy's going to be on.
I'll be watching.
Yeah.
I hope so.
I'll be on this end.
I think Randy was projecting his voice. I couldn't tell who was talking for a little while.
Yeah. Oh, I thought it was Kim. It's very good, the ventriloquism.
I'm going to have this lagging issue fixed by tomorrow. Because whatever's doing it is driving me crazy.
But it's great for ventriloquist act.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Where's Jeff Dunham there?
And
Wearing
Randy,
his chips on him. He's homeless by now.
Randy
We
and
will
I
be-
interviewed Robert Tobler. Well, Randy interviewed
Tobler's
Robert
own?
Tobler and I, and we're going to put that show out tomorrow morning.
Cool.
He a
I'm
chocolate
releasing
guy?
it at 9 or 10 a.m. Pacific time.
Rob Tobler is a really cool guy who lives in Hawaii, whose claim to fame is, anybody know? Anybody know?
The chocolate.
He
Yes.
is
TikTok.
my third cousin.
Oh,
Hey,
really?
What?
Bang my ass.
he is.
What?
Do you get
Yeah.
third cousin benefits?
We don't talk about it. The Toblers, and Rollins.
Is that a
don't talk
Mormon
about it.
movie? Cousins with benefits? Is that
Keep it in the
different from
family.
friends with benefits?
Keep it in the
Not-
family.
Not one you can see, my friend. Not one you can see. It's one that comes with protection.
You're going to open up Russell Nelson to the world. You're going to
I am.
expose him.
Splay him up.
I mean, a lot of it's going to be stuff you guys already know.
I suppose
But it's not.
if you
it's
were going to
not
have
what-
like a wrestling match with him, you probably had a good chance because he's like 100.
Crusty
It's like
Rusty.
100. He's going on 101.
Ooh,
I know I
he'll
could
live
beat him
forever.
in racquetball.
Frankly, I think you could kill him in a blinking contest.
I doubt that. He's going to blink one time real soon. Here. One final blink.
Cardiovascular surgeons, they don't live forever. I mean, not that you can tell by present example, but you'll find out.
Hey, Joe, I saw you on an Exmo and a Nomo walk into a bar, and we interviewed them just a few days ago, and that was one of the funnest shows we ever did. That was hilarious. But
I've had them on Korahor, on Hellfire
Randy and I
Agency,
didn't
too.
know we could have so much fun without Tim.
I know, right?
It's hard to imagine. It is hard to imagine.
Can you imagine how much fun it would have been with Tim?
Yeah.
Titty Tim.
Especially on a Titty Tuesday.
No, but they're great. Kate and Erica are great, though. I've had after I had them on my program, I invited Kate back on to talk about divorce. This is the second conversation we've had about how the Church of Korahor is innovating a special sacrament for divorce, and she was a great guest. You need but you need to call on people who are experienced, man. That's the key.
Just think, Joe,
from experience,
you're going to inspire kids to, you know how girls will plan their weddings?
Yeah.
Divorce.
They'll also be planning their divorce at 12 at the same time.
What they're going to wear, what music we're playing.
You joke, but how great would that be? How great would that be? Yeah, whether or not how the prenup is going to go.
Yeah,
how do you get
Queen's another bites the dust.
They say that the only ethical way to become a billionaire is to divorce one.
God.
Well, not to be too PC incorrect, but it's the best way for a woman to be a billionaire is to divorce a billionaire. You look like the richest women.
You're gonna stand alone on that one, buddy. I'm gonna let you stand there by
yourself. Yeah, I'm saying, go look it up.
I'm
the richest. I'm not saying it's right.
I'm not saying it's right. My wife to get up to $1 billion so that I can divorce her.
But I'm saying, you look at the richest women, like the 10 richest women, they're all divorced rich dudes. I'm not saying it's right.
That is okay.
That's just where we're at.
Look at oh crud, I can't remember her name. She had a talk. Winfrey.
Oprah Winfrey.
Oprah Winfrey.
Oprah.
She is one of the richest women in the nation.
True. That's true.
And,
she's an exception.
And the Olsen twins.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of women who are self-made. But like, Bezos' ex-wife is one of them. She's
Bezos' ex-wife is like one of the richest people in the world right now.
Yeah.
But have you ever seen? You ever watch Game Changer? It's on the Dropout Network. The same people who started College Humor.
Was it Dropout Network?
yeah. It's really funny. It's really good. But Brendan Lee Mulligan is a comedian who's always ragging on billionaires. The host of that show is Bob Reich's son. If you know who Bob Reich is, he's labor secretary under Clinton. Anyways, but they're always ragging on Elon Musk. They're always ragging on Jeff Bezos. They're always taking billionaires to task. So one day he gives them, it's an improv show. He gives them a prompt. And he says, this is your prompt. And he says, since you love to rag on billionaires, Brennan, take down billionaires Rihanna, Oprah, and Beyonce. And it's the color just like drains out of this white boy's face.
Danger, Will Robinson.
So I actually have a comeback for Trevor. Trevor said that the fastest way for a woman to become a billionaire is divorce one. I'm going to say that before they were divorced, those women were billionaires.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
If you think about it.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. They helped them out.
They, community property, they helped their husband as partners in order
That's
to.
true. At least theoretically.
Man or woman, I'll marry a billionaire.
Hell yeah, I've been a billionaire anytime.
The only thing I have a problem with some things is like I found it really hard to sleep my way to the top. That's the only.
It's real hard.
It
gotta have some nice titties.
I think it's because you thought, Gene, that actually involves sleeping.
Yeah.
That's a euphemism. You didn't realize that was a euphemism for sex.
I slept so much. I was sleeping all the time.
Like, what are you guys doing? I'm going to sleep. Get off. I'm trying to catch some Z's. Let me
like,
alone.
like movie Big. I get on top.
It's bedtime. Get away.
I can spin this in a whole new direction too. Okay, and this is gonna get bad. But I used to work at SeaWorld. I worked there 9 years.
Oh
wow!
Man.
Which one? Which one?
San Diego.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
So this is about working my way up to the top. So
I don't like this.
I started dating girls in the entertainment department there at SeaWorld. Well, the first girl I dated, the character she dressed up as was Penny Penguin. That's what her character was. Then I broke up with her. A couple of years later, I started dating another girl. So I worked my way up because she was Baby Shamu. I was moving up the ladder.
Tough roll. Tough roll.
Oh man.
Moving
on, right on up that
hierarchy. Work your way up the fish ladder. I'm surprised that you broke up with the penguin because I heard they're monogamous penguins.
Marine mammal.
One till death.
Marine mammal. Oh, cool.
That's tomorrow's show. I'll post a link to it.
Very cool.
Can you see how many minutes it is from now? 13 hours from now, 10 a.m. Pacific time. Joseph Smith's Magic Worldview. We take Ganesh Cherian's book and take the chapter on what's it called, Randy? Folk magic.
The folk magic,
Folk
and it's
you.
really interesting. Folk you. Yeah, it's very interesting.
And it's a great show. And Rob comes up with a comparison. What's it called? An object lesson.
An object lesson.
An allegory, whatever it's called.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Anachronism.
Analogy.
Comes up with an analogy. How a banyan tree is like Mormonism. So that's the teaser. Go watch tomorrow and find out.
Cool.
And Rio,
there you go.
For life, Kim D, do you have anything coming up on your channel?
I got 3 things in the works. I'm continuing on with a series that's been me telling my life from birth on, and we've got up to birth to age 14. So now we're moving on to age 14 in high school.
So you don't have an episode on the pre-existence?
That'll be, along
the end?
Coming along, yeah.
Bonus episode.
Bonus. There you go.
She forgot that part.
I'll come at the end.
I didn't remember.
I can't remember it.
So you're
The veil.
moving into puberty.
Yep, and this was when I had left my Mormon family, my dad and my stepmom, and I'm now living with my mom and stepdad. And 6 months into it, my mom has an aneurysm, no memory
Ooh.
of her personal life before that day. So I
Holy
am
cow.
literally on my own, where I'm the only Mormon in my entire town. I am 14 years old and I don't know
Wow.
anyone, anything, and have no one to really guide or direct me. So it's going to start getting a little more worldly and interesting in the next 5 years
Wow.
of my life, but also filled with
Wow.
guilt and shame and all kinds of stuff.
Crazy.
The second one I'm doing is an update of a true crime. The next court hearing is the 15th of September. It's a person who showed pornography to a minor, very minor, to teach them about sex.
Wow.
And then this is his, not even at the arraignment stage yet. There's delays that happen. This stuff takes forever. And eventually, along with it, two other, all connected in, I call it, instead of murdering Daybells, it's S.A. Creepville. And then I did go to the Scientology org in Salt Lake City because I
Oh,
had some
yeah.
questions about some things. And along with it, I got a copy of the Purification Rundown, which is also kind of interesting, how it all, And so there will be an episode I'll be doing with my friend Cricket and some other former Scientologists about my 22-minute audio recording of my experience there. So that'll be fun.
Yeah.
That's very
Interesting.
cool. Be sure and tell your friend to stay away from the seagulls.
Oh yes. And I didn't go in, but I took a picture of my very first swig when I was in Utah this past week. And so, and my best advice to anybody who goes to a heavy metal concert, I went to Pantera, and
Don't sway.
earplugs, and pop rocks. I kept putting pop rocks in my mouth to complete this sensation of all of the music and vibration. So
Is that
that's my new
Dang.
flame?
tip is
You
pop
went to a
rocks.
heavy metal
Is that new?
concert?
Is that new kind of drug?
Yeah, at the Utah First Amphitheater, I went to
Dude.
Pantera, and the next night I went to Counting Crows. I've got
Wow.
some
Oh
video
my
on that on my
gosh.
channel too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I had
How
a
did I
fun
not know that
weekend.
Pantera was in town? That's just wrong, man.
Yeah.
We're
I
kind
love
of hooked up
Pantera.
with some people that do seat fillers. So concerts, especially in the
Ah.
front, the band needs to see it full. So there's ways to get free tickets so
Oh, that's
that
cool.
you're,
Nice.
it's kind of cool. So
I'm
that is
Yeah.
what
holding
I'm
off
doing.
for. I'm waiting for 9 Inch Nails, and then I'll be there.
Oh, fun.
Good.
I've
They
been to an
come out.
ICP concert in Denver. I've done lots of
I'm only
interesting
kidding.
things.
Nine Inch Nails is doing the soundtrack for the new
Jesus the Christ?
no
No kidding.
Tron movie.
Oh, really?
Right.
Oh,
Yeah,
Right.
really?
Jesus.
saw the
Nine
new
Snails should
trailer
do
today.
Jesus.
Pretty cool looking. Pretty cool.
Huh.
All right. Well,
Do
thanks everybody for
Neutron?
watching. We're going to head off into the after show and have a great rest of 2025. We'll share, like, and subscribe, do all the things, and we'll see you next week.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
guys,
Good
for coming.
night. Take care. Touch a tit.
Auf Wiedersehen. Goodbye.